touch the dial. 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial.
Yes, this leader is bad. Fine. Wait until it's time to renew his mandate and say no. But don't condemn your country. Don't curse Nigeria. It's a beautiful land of prosperity. I just have a full belly of rice, my mind. So before I overly digest it, I want to say thank you once again. Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us, man, there is nothing. We are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join Opeyemi Akinyode as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership. Every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial, Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you next as we discuss the situations.
It's another Friday, and I want to especially welcome you to the last edition of the show for the week. And it's been an amazing time on radio. Certainly, you've enjoyed our line of programs since we started broadcast early in the morning. Yes, and for those of us that stayed with us late into the night yesterday from 10 p.m. to 12 midnight, it was a Baron's Corner. And we had some really healthy conversation around men, insecurity challenges, and some of those gossips that men really don't talk about. You have to join Eric and I every Thursday from 10 p.m. to 12 midnight. It's called Baron's Corner, and we get to have conversations around what you would usually not hear at the regular hour of the day. I'm sure you understand what I mean, so don't miss that. Hey, it's Super Friday edition of the program. My name is Opeyemi Akinyode, and together for the next maybe 85 minutes or thereabout, in between that period, by 5 o'clock we take the headline news, we'll also pay some bills, and then the show would return. Well, it's been a big week. I've not really been at work for the better part of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was off the radio. But of course, right from where I was following proceedings. You understand what it means? It's an addiction now, getting to do this with you every day of the week from Mondays to Friday. Sometimes we get to pop in on some Saturday, shows as well. Okay, let's get straight up into the conversation. The president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, the Senate president, I beg your pardon, would be joining me on the show today. And together we run through the conversation around the recently signed the student loan. Yes, that was recently signed. by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We're going to focus on that today on the show. So I decided to just take a quick, stretch and have Senator Akinteye Babatunde is the president of the Senate for National Association of Nigerian Students. And of course, a lot of us, or probably a lot of people out there, don't even know that the student body, the way they have the president, who is 괏 Mономēᴜ, they also have the Senate arm of the student body. The Senate president joins me on the show today, and then we'll talk about some of these issues, the fears that have been raised. And one of the biggest concerns had been a lot of Nigerians in diaspora, Nigerian students in diaspora also said, hey, how can we benefit from this? It's not all of us that are on scholarship. It is not all of us that are enjoying the patronage of, the government. Well, so let's get straight up into the conversation. My guest today is the Senate president for National Association of Nigerian Students. Yes, distinguished Senator Akinteye Babatunde. Good evening. Thank you for joining me in the Situation Room today.
Thank you very much. Good evening, my brother.
Okay. You're live on radio, and we're broadcasting live from the city of Lagos. First off, I need to appreciate you for squeezing time out to be with us on the show today. The information was a bit late, but you still took out time out of your schedule to be with us, so we really appreciate. Thank you very much for accepting to be on the show today.
You don't need to thank me for that. It is what we say. So,
well, I understand where I'm coming from. There was a time where it became extremely difficult to have the leadership of NANS to be on the show, so I understand. So let's get straight up into the conversation. A couple of days back, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed the last piece of the legislation into law, aiming to transform tertiary education financing in Nigeria. And it was actually dubbed the Access to Higher Education Act of 2024, or simply put, the Student Loan Act of 2024. This law introduces an interest-free loan system for Nigerian students seeking higher education. Well, let's go back a little bit. One of the challenges that a lot of Nigerian students have always talked about, which I've also seen you a couple of times go to, local chapters of Nigerian institutions to mediate with the management of the school in terms of the reduction in tuition fee or school fees generally. How vital is this Student Loan Act that was signed into law by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
To be sincere, I don't know. But everybody that does not have any other ulterior motive should always appreciate the president for this Student Loan Act. I am saying this as a comrade that is closer to the students and know what students are facing when it comes to the issue of paying school fees. There are times that we have to squeeze out our own money. We have to go to groups to contribute money for students to pay their tuition fees, their school fees. For example, there is this company we're always working with, they give loans to students also about last year, 2 years ago. The amount of students that have registered with that company to get loans so that they can go to school. So if students can go to those companies, and the federal government is coming that, no, we want to give student loans to go to school, so that we have reduction in the amount of students that are out of school. I think that act we deserve to appreciate the federal government for that. But not just only the institution of the federal government to always do also to the law, but the federal government is showing that they are really serious about this law. For instance, look at the loan for 2023 and look at the one for the 2024. The government now have removed all the serious issues without the qualification of the loan, that would have actually qualified for the loan. And now they have made it more easier for us. All we need now is just your BVN, your NIN, your matric number, be a student, let them verify you, and you get this loan. So it's not a tedious work. You don't need to look for lawyer, you don't need to do all these things. And apart from the loan for paying school fees, even loan to be in school for your welfare reasons, your food, all the basic amenities, you can also get loan as far as you're a student. So the federal government deserves commendation over the loan. And we believe it is necessary at this point in time in this country, especially when there are a lot of people leaving their school. Many students are abandoning their school at 200 level, 300 level, some even in 400 level for those that are doing BTech. They have 5 years in school. Some are leaving their school because they don't have money to pay to go to school. So it's a good one. And the poor masses of this country will appreciate and understand. Those that have money might not understand or might not appreciate, but the poor masses of this country, they appreciate the federal government for what they have done.
Okay, I mean that's a good way to start, and you made really key statement. Now, one of the issues that brought up a lot of let me put it this way, arguments is some of the terms that were included in the initial templates that was presented. The fact that you had to get a lawyer that had practiced for a couple of years, you had to get a religious leader, you had to get all of that to get into it. Now that it's been simplified, but let's open it up a little bit with this student loan now. How much more do you think it will lessen the pressure, especially on parents that are really struggling as civil servants trying to send their kids to school going forward? How much more do you think the government can still do in terms of trying to make education? See, I accept the fact that education is not cheap. We understand that, but do we expect more from the government? When the president got sworn in, one of the things he said in his statement was that he understands the language of the youth, he understands the plight, and is going to really pay attention to them. How much more should we expect from the president?
First of all, we were at the public hearing. The loan, before it was just a loan, it was just an act. And before it was under the CBN, the CBN governor is to appoint the executive secretary to run it. But now, it now has an agency, net fund. So the agency is going to have a chairman, going to have a secretary. Even students are part of the board member of the agency now. So we told them, when the president sent the loan back to the House of Reps for public hearing, a joint public hearing between the House and the Senate. So when they are doing this, we made the presentation and we told them that this should not call for increment in our institution fee. And all the schools, the vice chancellors, we should listen and obey the order of the president over this significant increment in all these school fees. So we told them. So now our own call to the federal government is that they should not, because there is a loan in place, then management can just come and increase school fees anyhow they like. And we will know that this will even make the federal government to start checkmating schools. Now, there are no students who want to go to school without loan. So if you want to increase your school fees arbitrarily when it is not necessary, federal government will also ask you questions, because they know some of these schools, because of this loan, want to increase their fees. And one benefit about this loan is that students that is getting loan to go to school, the level it will be concentrated and the level of seriousness by that student will be much more than when somebody is just paying for you. When you are getting loan and you need to graduate, you need to look for job, to get job, and start paying back the loan after 2 years. The level of concentration in school is just as if you are sending yourself to school. You are just sending loan to send yourself to school. So you need to qualify, you need to graduate with good grades for you to be able to be able to penetrate the market outside the school. So the loan has its benefits, and we are sure that this is not going to cause more increment from the federal government.
Let me put that aside. Earlier today, the president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, Comrade Lucky, was on national TV, and one of the things he said was that it's a landmark decision. Let me put his words out exactly. It's a landmark decision for the president to get into this, but he expressed a little fear. And let me ask you that question: being the Senate president, is this another way of the president, or let me put it this, of the government fully involved in education? One of the things that have raised a lot of issues in the last few years is how many private universities that we have in Nigeria, especially how some of them are really, really unaffordable, according to the data that we have. Is this another way of the government saying, let us get involved in education, let us see how we can help the people to get quality education at not a throat-slitting price? How much more is this for the Nigerian people?
You see, let me tell you the truth. I am an advocacy of government funding education properly. You understand? We want government to fund education properly, and one of the things I have also said, and what we see, is that this loan should not be an avenue for the government to relax their duty in funding education. Part of the way the government are funding education is state fund. I am sure you are aware that the government this year devoted about 638 billion or 83 billion to state fund for this year. And state fund is saying, okay, from this money, this way they are building about 50 hotels across campuses in this year alone, which they will complete. So funding education properly is the duty of the government. And that is one thing that is necessary. We cannot compromise our stand on that. And that they are giving loan. Why we are appreciating the loan is that it will increase or it will reduce the level, the amount of students that are out of school. And it will increase the students that want to register, that want to go to school. It will encourage them to go to school. But having doing this, the government and the level at this government will empower schools to not refuse, because we want them to fund the schools properly. Because when you don't fund schools, the management, when they see that, okay, we are not funding school properly because of loan, they will continue increasing school fees. And when they continue to increase school fees, the loan to be getting will also increase. And that is also going to become a problem on us when we want to repay. So I'm an advocacy of government funding education properly, even either with the loan or not with the loan.
Now let me pick out a couple of things from the loan, the prerequisite for it. Apart from the establishment of NEL fund, there's also this setting up structure for funding NEL fund, the removal of family income barrier, which was a massive debate when the loan was initially presented. The fact that the applicant family income must not exceed 500,000 per year, that had been removed. The removal of the guarantors barrier also, which was initially presented in the Student Loan Act of 2023. Now it's been included. The skill development program is also been included in all of this. Now, I've been the president of the Senate for NANS. One particular part of it that a lot of people have asked more clarification is the repayment pattern, which is supposed to come 2 years after your mandatory NYSC. But of course, if you look at the unemployment rates and the numbers in the last few years, it hasn't really looked like something that could guarantee you that the moment you step out of school, you complete your NYSC and your mandatory NYSC, you will get a job. Are you pushing for this in this conversation?
The new loan, the new act that was signed to law, have you fashioned yourself with some of the things you need?
Yes.
Because if many people are fashioned themselves with it, this thing you have said is not even, the fear does not even come up. Because now, after 2 years, if you are working, if you have started working, if you got a job, if you have gotten a job, you will start paying. If you have not gotten a job and you know you are into entrepreneurship, you will start paying. But if after that 2 years of you serving as an NYSC member, if you have not gotten a job and you are not doing any business, you will go to court and swear an affidavit that you are not working yet and you don't have any income yet. So that affidavit is what you will submit to the NEL fund board. When you submit it, they will give you grace and wait till when you start working. But if you should go and swear that affidavit and they find out that you are working or you have gotten a business you are doing that you are getting an income, that is when it becomes a criminal act which you can be charged to court for. But if you are not getting a job, if you are not working yet, you cannot pay. You will just go and swear an affidavit in court that I am not working yet. But if you swear an affidavit and you are working and they find that, definitely you have an ask, you have to say your mind that you want to defraud the loan. Which means you want to get the loan, you don't want to pay back because of other students. So I think that process is seamless. If you are not working, you cannot pay. Just go to court, swear an affidavit that you are not working and you will not pay. And when you start working, you start paying. So that is it.
Okay, now let's talk about Nigerian students in diaspora. I need to give NANS, especially the recent leadership, a lot of credit. I remember when the issue in Libya happened, when Nigerian students were stuck, all of the things that you did, we saw all of that. But let's talk about this loan. Does it apply to Nigerian students in diaspora? Now, I'm not talking about the ones that are already on government scholarship. I'm talking about the ones that their parents are also putting everything on the line to make sure that they have access to this, to good education. And I've always said it, schooling out of Nigeria does not necessarily qualify you to say I have a better education. That's an established fact. But is there any way that Nigerian students outside of the shores of this country can benefit from this loan?
Hello.
I'm with you. Okay. I think I'll try and reconnect with my guests. Let's see how far we can go with this conversation. I've been speaking with the president of the Senate of a National Association of Nigerian Students. Of course, I've not been speaking with Senator 괏ᴜᴜ. I've been speaking with distinguished Senator Akinyode Babatunde, and we're looking at the student loan. How workable is this loan, especially with the review of some of the, the bottleneck that have raised a lot of concerns and reaction when it was initially presented in 2023. Now, welcome back. Before I let you go, finally, I will soon let you go.
Let me answer your question.
Okay.
I want to answer that question.
Okay.
We did not advocate for students in diaspora.
Okay.
And I don't think we are going to advocate for them. Sincerely, we have many problems in our country already. If you know how much they are paying in diaspora for their tuition fees, if about 5 or 10 people will get the loan, it will not even reach both of us that are here.
That's schooling.
So before you say you want to go outside the country, if you want to go outside the country to school, you will know the capacity of your parents or your capacity of nobody goes to diaspora to school on loan. Only if the federal government that is sponsoring your education here. So we are not advocating for them, and that is not because we are selfish, but because we want our own money to be spent in our country, and that is the truth.
Now, you raised an issue in respect to the vice chancellors now raising the tuition fee arbitrarily. I mean, we've seen a lot of that. Federal universities, state universities coming up with some outrageous prices. And are you putting anything in place to check some of these, vice chancellors that can want to take advantage of this, knowing that the principal responsibility of NANS is to look into the welfare of the Nigerian student? So are you putting anything in place to check some of these SSCs that may arise as a result of this loan, especially from the management of universities?
Honestly, to be sincere, we have done a lot. And part of it was the meeting we had with the Minister of Education. That is last month. And in that meeting, the chairman of one vice chancellor was there. Who is the vice chancellor of Univen? You understand?
I'm with you.
So she was there, everybody was there, and we were there. And right in our presence, the minister told her she should relate to other vice chancellors that the issue of increment should be put on hold. And the vice chancellor also expressed their own problem and concern about how things are becoming expensive, how things are becoming expensive for them to do. So we believe that now, for some time now, I don't think if there is any issue of increment in school fees from schools for some time now. And we believe it. But we, any school that increase, we are always going there to check with and to ask them questions before we now say we want to confront.
Okay, away from the student loan a bit, let's talk about what are the things that you've been up to since you became the president of NANS. I mean, you've been around student activism for a long time, being the former joint campus committee chairperson for Ondo-Ekiti axis or thereabouts, and you've also been around. Since you became the president of the Nigerians of the Senate of NANS, so what are the things that you've been up to in terms of the welfare of Nigerian students and some of those things? Maybe you want to talk to us about that before we say our goodbyes on the show today.
When we came on board at the time whereby there is the issue of this implementing school. And immediately we switched into action. We have different school management, we have been in LASO, we have been in Univen, we have been in Tᴜɪᴜnᴜ, we have been in different parties. And also we have tried our best. When there was issue of food scarcity, we met with the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria himself to told him of our concerns and our issues on students affecting students. We met the chief of staff every day. When there is issue of kidnapping, we raise up our voices, and we also met the minister of the also promised us that our students will be released, and lo and behold, they were released. There are lots of programs we are coming up with. We are having our student conference in June. We are having a Senate sitting by the end of April, and we are having a conference in Cyprus. This will also be going to meet our students in Cyprus. So there are lots of things we are doing. We just will not protect us and continue to help us in this.
Okay, thank you very much, distinguished Senator Babatunde Akinteye, the president of the Senate for National Association of Nigerian Students. And like I said, I was, I bumped into the interview of the president of the of NANS, Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ M<silence>oɪ earlier today, in respect to this same issue of the student loan. And I would constantly reach out to you if there are updates and we need some clarifications from your end. So thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you very much.
And you too. Okay, you're welcome back. That was a quick session with distinguished Senator Akinteye Babatunde, the Senate President for National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, a national body, and that's the body that is saddled with the responsibility of taking care of the welfare of the Nigerian students. And of course, are looking into issues that have to do with victimization on campuses, or I just said, unlawful increment of school fees, tuition fees, and all of those across the campuses. It's not just restricted to universities, colleges of education, polytechnics, and just every institution in Nigeria. Well, we decided to reach out so that we can know some of the things, because I remember a couple of months back, I had a lecturer from Adiklajash University, the head of Department of History and International Studies, that's Dr. Olaiwola. He joined us on the show, and he clearly expressed his fear and the fact that the student loan may not work because there are not templates on the ground. But within that period, it looks like the loan had been reworked. I mean, a bit different from what was presented in 2023. Now, some of the bottlenecks have been removed. The issue of, parent loan history as a prerequisite, the removal of guarantors barrier, the removal of family income barrier, some of these things have been removed so as to make it a bit easy and a bit more accessible for Nigerian students. But the question still remains, is the government committed to sustaining this loan? And secondly, I mean, you would always expect that the university management will sit back and say, hey, these students are having loans, they're having access to loans now, and the access to the loan is not just tuition fee. It covers tuition fee, charges, and upkeep. So it's an all-encompassing loan pattern that have been presented to the Nigerian student. You have your NIN, your matric number, your school ID card, and so a few other requirements. Just get into it. So I'm really hoping that the government would be able to sustain it. Let's see how the takeoff would be like, and let's see how Nigerian students will be able to also stick by it. And I think the part that really interests me the most is the repayment pattern. The revised law also stipulates that the recovery process from beneficiary of the loan scheme would commence 2 years after the NYS, that's the National Youth Service, scheme. 2 years after. And then my guest also, through the conversation open, if you don't get a job 2 years after, you'd approach the court, you get an affidavit and say, hey, I'm still unemployed, so I've not been able to live key into my obligation to repay the loan. Give me more time. I've not gotten a job. When I do, I would come back and pay. And there's also a part of it that talks about debt forgiveness. Let me read that part. Lastly, the Act offers a debt forgiveness clause in the event of death or act of God causing inability to repay. In sum, the presidential spokesperson that addressed the issue noted that the updated act addresses the hindrances in the initial version, setting the stake for safeguarding Nigeria's prospect. According to him, that's Ajuri Ngalale, it makes it possible for citizens to fund their studies, learn vital skills, and play a role in national growth? Well, let me have your take on this. 09136000410. We've tried our best, to simplify the conversation around the student loan all through the week on a couple of our, current affairs conversation on this station. We've talked about the student loan, we've broken it down, simplified it, just, tried to remove some of the fears that we have and break it down in the very simplest way possible so that parents would understand that you don't need to have any fear. If you earn above 500,000, your kids can still apply once they're able to meet up with the the requirement to apply for the loans. Even if you're a pass, a third class, as long as you meet up some of those requirements, you can approach your school and then you get some of the things you need to get and go online to apply. I think the website is open already and running. I saw the Minister of State for Youth, addressing the press in respect to that on Tuesday or thereabout. We should be able to have the minister join us maybe next week Tuesday, next week Wednesday rather, during midweek politics. We should be able to have him join us on the show to further break some of these things down. 09136000410. You're live on Milan 98.3 FM, and this is the Situation Room. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Ope.
Good to have you, Pastor Ambrose.
Ambrose, it's Friday. Ope, I am just wondering. I'm not against this student loan. No. I'm just wondering, are we not pushing the cart before the horse? Ope, there are so many things that we need to put in place in this country. It's not student loan that is our priority now. Because Nigerians can work hard. When there was no student loan, we are paying our children's school fees now. So why are we talking of loan now? Why are we not thinking of how to fix our electricity? Why are we not thinking of how to make our education better? All of these monies, why don't they pump them directly to the universities? Why are we not thinking of how the standard of living of Nigerians can be better? I like I said, I'm not against the student loan, and this is just me. But I'm looking at the better things that should be done ahead of this loan, so that the people that will come and hustle for this loan will be few. You will see that the application, the request will be more than the availability of the money. And when that is done, a lot of people will be tapped because the money that they will put down will not be enough. I think those is monies that they are getting from subsidy remover, subsidy this, subsidy that. I am thinking that they should use it to give us electricity. They should use it to make Nigerians create employment. When I say create employment, I'm not saying employ people. Make the environment conducive so that people can get employed. Nigerians are hustlers.
Okay, thank you very much, Pastor Ambrose. Well, I've seen situations where students are about to drop out of school because they couldn't meet the financial obligations of continuing their education. And that's really pathetic when you have to go through a 4-year program and you've done 3 years, and then something happens to whoever is sponsoring you, or your parents couldn't live up to the billing, of course, economic hardship and all of that, and then you have to drop out of school. Some of them would apply for leave of absence and they would never come back. I mean, it's a sequence that alters your life plans. And so I kind of feel if this student loan can work, if the government can sustain it, if it can be institutionalized so that it doesn't become, a one government thing and then the next government is not interested in funding and all of that. Now that it's even been signed into law, it's no longer an act. It's no longer something that can be, it could be open to review or subject to reviews and all of that. But I think in a way, now we should look at the possibility of it really working. I understand the fear of the pessimism being expressed by Pastor Ambrose, but again, you also need to look at the fact that there are a lot of people out there that cannot afford quality education. In fact, a lot of people out there that cannot afford the basic of what you need to be in school. It's crazy. I understand. Again, you always said that Nigeria would always find a way around some of these situations. but it's the responsibility of the government to make finding our ways around these things easier. So if you have a loan scheme that is available for your children, you as a parent can focus on other things. If you have kids that are not in the university yet, that are not in the higher institutions yet, you can focus on those ones when you know that the ones that you have at the higher institutions can actually do well and apply for these loans. And just like the Senate, the president of the Senate for NANS talked about, it's supposed to even motivate you to do more, to get better, so that the moment you step out of school with a good degree, you get a job so that you can pay back. Hello, good evening.
Hello, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's me, Tinubu, calling from the site.
Good to have you join us on the show today.
Yeah. It's very commendable. Most of those things that they've been removed, that have been expunged from the conditions on how to get the loan, I think it's commendable. But the only fear most Nigerians will be having right now is the Nigeria factor. Because some of the conditions now come to political. So you begin to see how, okay, the people who are in social party are the ones that their children can get it easy, this and that. So things like that. Yeah, I'm telling you, Nigeria, politician. So that is the area. And then coming to another area people are not looking at. I have two children in music. Before now, I give them 1,000 naira each for transport, and it takes them for a week. But now, I give them 5,000 naira before the weekend. They are already calling me. So, far above tuition, I tell you the expenses that these children give buses.
Okay, Mickey Ways, I would appreciate if you can call back. The phone lines are still very much open. 091-3600-0410. I would appreciate if you can call back and join the conversation. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good to you, Opeyemi.
Prince Wallace.
Can I mention my name? Okay.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, as it is now, this is the best thing to happen with children on the floor. I want to thank Mr. President for taking this issue to the National Assembly and deciding and it become a law. This is good for Nigeria. This is good for the parents of children who want to be educated and their father, their mother, who have no money. This is what Baba Femi Awolowo did. He was the president of West Region. I want to say this is the best is taking by WH Tinubu's government. Nobody should doubt this. If education is light, everybody must be educated. We must be, whether you are rich, you are poor, let everybody be educated. And this is the best thing to happen. After in the western side of this country, we do have from primary to secondary, it's free. And they must add another thing, it must be compulsory. When you have secondary education, if you want to go to higher institutions, if you have no money, go there and borrow. Don't bad intention. I won't pay back because that's the aim of from Nigeria. Say, when you get money, you won't pay. Make sure you are put it in your mind that we pay back. Because when we are educated, nobody can take it from you. So for me, I love it, I like it, and I pray that those who want to handle the committee who want to the matter is to be honest to themselves, honest to Nigeria. If you let for us to go away from this, Opeyemi,
thank you.
Yesterday, I was very happy in this. Mr. President Tinubu, right on, I support you for this. Good evening to you.
Thank you very much, Prince Wise. On the issue of nursing fear, if it's going to be politicized, I don't know. I don't know how valid that fear is, because it's not something you have to go to your local government secretariat to collect stamp from local government chairman and then they will say you go and meet your party chairperson. No, it's something you have to apply. Everything is virtual. You have to apply for it online. So I think it takes out that fear of, oh, maybe it could be hijacked politically. I don't think that can work on this one. But hey, I've got to be careful. Hello, good evening.
Hello, Mr. Fair.
You're welcome. Your name and where you joining us from?
Good evening.
You're welcome.
Dr. Prince from Ojo, local government.
Okay. You're welcome, Dr. Prince.
Yes, the issue of student loans, I like it because I was once a student and I could hardly find help in those days. The thing was not as challenging as this now. We were almost eating free food at all time, having free hostel and the rest of them in the early 80s as when we were in the university. Unlike now. But my contribution is just on this. Why the government remove subsidy on petroleum products, if I may ask? Now, if I have the answer myself as I'm asking, is not to quickly give us functional refineries so that we have petroleum products enough here for local use and export, and then from there get raw materials to service our industries. Then, apart from the refineries, what about electricity? And I've taken my time as a research fellow, a development consultant, to look at all the countries of the world. Is there any developed country that does not have stable light? Are you with me?
I'm with you.
So the issue of student loan is there. I don't want people who climb the tree from the top instead of from the base. It looks strange. Sometimes government does something that looks like maybe somebody beating about the bush. They don't have any particular direction. They cannot define exactly what are the policy direction of the government like this. Many issues we are chasing at the same time. Because Ben Trusa said, if you have some problems, eat that frog. That is, try to solve the greatest problem. And once that one is solved, others will fall in line, will take care of themselves. Because if you want to solve all the problems at once, you will end up not even solving one at all. The Heathrow Airport in London, do you know how many years it took the British government to build it? 10 years. Are you following me?
I'm with you.
Not that the money was not there, but the British government saw the need to build that airport for 10 years. And after it was completed and commissioned, which is one of the busiest airports in the world now. Something like the power project we're talking about now. I don't know my area here. It's not we still like it. We are still complaining anyway. Because we don't want to belong to the complainant group. One that's light we enjoy, one that's no light we can put a generator, whatever we want to put, and then go and sleep. Right? So power project is something that takes a long time to come to be. So it's a long-term plan. It's not that maybe this government must start it and finish it. No, it can take 10 years. It can take 20 years, like Abia State enjoying it today. It took about 20 years to do that kind of power plan.
Sorry, Dr. Prince, let me ask you a question. Since we're on this line of conversation now, you would expect that since they said government is continual, and you would expect that whatever template a previous administration had put on ground, it should just be a natural thing that the new administration would, build on that template, which means it's just like completing a project that had been driven to maybe about 60%. It's cheaper to complete it to 100% and starting all over again. Before I came on air, I was watching the Honorable Minister of Power, Mr. Bayo Adelabu, on TV, and I was trying to understand some of the rationale behind these increments. I will probably still catch up with that later, but don't you think the government needs to show more commitment? My guest yesterday, if you listen to the show, talked about the fact that if the government can fix the power challenges in this country and fix the security challenges in this country, 60% of our challenges is sorted. Don't you think the government needs to do more?
Agreed. Yeah, see, the thing is, it depends on the political will of the government. Right? A government should be able to massage its ego and know that power does not belong to anybody. Power belongs to God. You come, you go. This power project is not something that one man should start and finish before his tenure is over. No. It's not only the work of the president as such. The National Assembly should come into play. Is there any blueprint on the power project for Nigeria, maybe to build a nuclear plant or give us steady light? I was listening to the High Commissioner of Norway, or the ambassador. So that's Norway. Norway was colonized by Denmark and Spain those days before it got independence. But now, Norway has come to be one of the richest countries in the world, no matter how small. Norway generates light 8 times more than what it needs. Can you imagine that? 8 times more than what it needs. From hydro, from solar, from waste and gas, because it's also producing oil producing country. But don't have all these resources in Nigeria. The issue is that there's no political will on the part of government to do what is right. Sometimes they say they have come to share palliatives to the people. Are you with me? Sharing palliatives. Are we refugees? Are we refugees? Are we fighting a battle?
Thank you.
I do see the palliatives being shared here and there. I've never seen the machine before.
Thank you.
Because you show it on television to the whole world that they are feeding Nigerians. During the COVID-19, in Germany, they were hanging food along the streets. Nobody was even taking. No, here in Nigeria, can you have food along the street for people to take?
Thank you very much. Thank you. I really understand where you're coming from. But then, they would always tell you that a Saturday that would be good, you would know from Friday. If the government wants to have a long-term plan to fix power, the challenges that we have in this country, then we've had enough time. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo brought up the issue of privatization. It was continued by the late Yar'Adua. Goodluck Jonathan also did his own, trying to make sure that we have constant power supplies. But you also look at some of the, the organizations that pegged in their commitment when it was privatized. Then you look at the operations of some of the gencos that we have in this country. I mean, it's a whole lot of mess. And when you have people that are not living up to their part of the bargain, as a government, you have every right to sit them down and review some of the whatever agreement that was reached. Individuals should never be more powerful than institutions in this country, and that's the fact. The Nigerian interest is supposed to be number one. Hello, good evening. Okay, I got you a bit late. You can call back 0913-600-0410. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
You're welcome.
My name is Jᴏɪᴜᴜ.
You're welcome.
Well, if this project works out, it might allow you go, and I'll be forever grateful to Tinubu, President Tinubu.
Hello, Mr. Dojai. Okay. Maybe you try and call back. Some little difficulty with the network, but we'll keep it going. You can also drop your comment on our social media space, by the way, facebook.com/mainland98.3 FM. We're streaming this program live. So in case you're struggling to meet us via phone, you can go on our Facebook page and drop your comment. I would read the comment. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good to have you join us on the show today.
Thank you very much. My name is Comrade WG=SoᴛsAᴘᴘ, and I'm calling from Lagos. Yes. First and foremost, I think that the Nigerian students are very grateful to His Excellency, the President of the country, the President of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for actually making sure that this student loan becomes a reality. And I'm sure that the reason for this loan is going to be achieved, so that our students that are actually less privileged will be able to afford the best education that they want. I want to equally use this medium to also thank our leaders, the NANS leaders, the NANS president, and of course our own brother, the Distinguished Senator Babatunde, who have been standing to make sure that the federal government signs this bill into law. And I'm very sure that the Senate president and the president of NANS are going to do the needful to make sure that our stakeholders, our leaders, student leaders are directly involved in the
committee that will be set up to oversee the student loan. So it's a good one for us. It's a win for Nigerian students. It's a win for NANS leaders. And I hope that Nigerian students will make judicious use of this platform that has been given. So once again, thank you and good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for dropping by and then chipping in your own recommendation on the student loan. I'm quite positive about it as well. Yes, we would always have issues here and there just to, kick it off and see how much we can sustain it. But I mean, for someone that had helped in having, public funds raised, GoFundMe open for people, I think it's a major step to making sure that, yes, education is expensive. It's not cheap, but then it should be affordable. And that's easy. That's just the fact. As much as it's expensive, quality education does not come cheap, but it should be affordable. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Okay, your name, where are you joining us from?
This is Abiola. Are you listening?
I'm with you, Mr. Abiola.
Yes, I want you to pay attention. I want everybody to listen to this. I can feel the power within 12 months. You get it? Forget the Jankos and Discos and the TCN. Therefore, I can do that. Not of deceiving ourselves. Those who will lose are the people that bought power company, who corrupt me. That's my statement. Take it like that. Don't contact me. Olabiola is my name. Thank you.
Okay, that's a straight one. 09136000410. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Beck.
You're welcome. Your name and where are you calling from?
And I was trying to make a point before I ran out of credit.
Oh, okay. Go on, please.
What I'm saying that there's nothing wrong with student loan. But to me, at this time, it's like a serious distraction. The government should gather itself and face the critical matters of infrastructure. That is the basic needs of the country for development. What are these needs? Stable electricity and functional refineries for now. These two things will have to work before others can take place. Otherwise, it's just like trying to beat about the bush. Or trying to make all these billions and billions you are making available. Before you know it now, somebody will pocket part of the money. Even the students may not get the money as expected. So let government draw a blueprint. Maybe say Nigerians, take out the next 10 years old, will build a nuclear plant so that there will be light everywhere. Not some people in band A, some in band C, some in band F, all the rest of them. Then look at it's going to take us another 5 years to build our refineries and get them working. So talk to us. Let us know exactly the plan you have as government to get these things on board. Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
So Nigerians will know exactly what government wants to do at any particular period. So that you have hope. This government has a plan for us and things like that. Not just scratching so many things on the surface. At the end of the day, you go back to square one. So government should massage it. Look, I'm in government now. And the head of the government, if I don't finish this work, the next government will continue from there. Just like I just told about the airport, the government started it went out of office, another government took over, another government took over until it was completed. So there should be a blueprint like that for power supply in Nigeria, for refineries, so that any government that comes in will continue from wherever the other one has stopped. But this thing will be realized. When these things are put in place, I'm telling you, the economy will grow on its own. Even the parents sponsoring their children in school will not like the money. So this is just the advice I'm trying to give to the government at a time. Otherwise, you feel that every now and then we are still going back to the same square one. No light, no fuel, and things are very, very expensive. The currency is bad, it's not having value, and there's a sense of insecurity everywhere. So what I'm talking about, if you give, can you give them loan now? When they pass out, can you post them to Zamfara to do the NYSC? Can you post them to other places like Katsina, where they be kidnapped, or things like that? So why don't you face issues that are on ground that will give Nigerians life, instead of going to do many things at a time that will not give us exactly what we expect?
Thank you. Thank you very much. On Facebook, Kabiru Adigbero said, Thank you for the greetings. We should be optimistic about the student loan fund. God bless my country, Nigeria. God bless you too. Isaiah Benjamin says, for the student loan, all is deception. When is it taken off? Are we told? Let's watch and see. Why is it a loan and why not a grant? I ask, where is the money saved from subsidy removal? Can Mr. President give account? The time of Abacha, we have PTF that manage funds, and we see the development that PTF brought. Who is in charge of subsidy money? Is it gone? President Tinubu is just making money available only for politicians. May God help this country. Benjamin from Shugule. John Esson says the student loan law cannot work in Nigeria because, one, most students in public universities are from poor homes. How many people can benefit from it? Who are the people to manage the success of the scheme or administer it? How will the beneficiary pay back when there is unemployment and the unemployment rate is high in Nigeria? What about the continuity? What about the political consideration? All of these questions were sent in by Professor Mike. Rafi War AGK says the idea of government about electricity is just a way of separating the poor from the rich, and it will do us no good. Keep the calls coming in and also keep the conversation running on our social media platforms, facebook.com/mainland98.3 FM. Hello, good evening, caller.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Kwe.
You're welcome.
How's it?
I'm good, and you?
You're going thank God. I'll be within another day.
Thank you.
I want to make a comment due to this student loan that you're talking about.
Please go
ahead. Just going and say thank President Tinubu and this. I want to ask those that benefit from the free education, you understand, under some government, and they are coming today, they are saying the student loan and not student loan. All these things that don't say it's a scam. Show the sign. The truth is, if you want to run a country in the way it's supposed to do, you're not supposed to be talking about student loan. Don't make education instead for the people that want to go to school, for them to go to school. So understand, let's talk about this fraud and not fraud. Because this one you are saying is a fraud. They are looking for way to transfer money into their own pocket. So understand, so this one is saying that President Tinubu sign this and this and this and this. At the end of the day, nothing good will come out of this. You understand? So let us all take the country in the way that's supposed to do. Let's make the economy work, and make the security, and people can be able to pay for their own school fees. People that are excited about this student loan, for me, I didn't say anything good there. Good luck to Nigeria.
And good luck to you as well. Thank you. Well, we need to take a very quick break, and you know we always do it. On the turn of 5 o'clock, we'll still come back and still continue with the calls. I mean, you expect that when decisions like this or when laws like this are made, there would always be, fear. People would always express the optimism and also the pessimism around it. People would always have, but maybe we should just sit back a little bit and let the scheme take off. And so by doing that, we can actually look at the flaws. I mean, sometimes until you start a journey, you don't even know how far you could go, or perhaps until you start a project, there's some things you probably not even pay attention to at the planning stage. Maybe when we kick it off and then students start benefiting from it, then we can see how we can improve on it. I like the question one of the Facebook comment was raising, and it talked about the continuity. That had always been the problem for me. I don't want it to be an administration thing. It's a law that obviously becomes binding on everybody, whether you're from the whatever political party you belong to. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, keep your calls coming in. On the turn of 5 o'clock, the show returns. It's the Situation Room live on Mainland 98.3 FM. Enjoy the headline news, some bills, and then the show would come back on the turn of 5 o'clock.
Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial. 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial.
Headline news on 98.3 Mainland FM. Good evening. Headline news on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Omobola Sandra. Gunmen invade Kogi community and kill 19 people, set houses ablaze. Falana warns some governors will turn state police to instrument of oppression. Electricity tariff hike will further impoverish Nigerians. Northern elders tackle Tinubu. On the foreign scene, Macron admits France's role in Rwanda genocide. In sports, Barcelona make contact with Napoli for star forward. Leicester City star Wilfred Ndidi admits struggle with fitness amidst return to action. That's the headline news on Mainland FM. Details at 5:30.
You're listening to the soft sounds of 98.3 Mainland FM. Easy listening wherever, whenever.
Broadcast Art Institute Supplementary Admissions 2023-2024. Few vacancies exist in the Department of Broadcast Journalism and Multimedia Technology for admission in the 2023-2024 session. If you scored 100 and above in the 2023-2024 UTME together with 5 relevant credits but have not gained admission, you can change over to the Broadcast Art Institute Lagos for National Diploma in Broadcast Journalism and Multimedia Technology. The Broadcast Art Institute is accredited by the National Board for Technical Education (NBTE) to offer national diploma programs in broadcast journalism and multimedia technology. You can visit our campus at number 38 Odofin Street, Igbogbo, Ikorodu, Lagos, or call the following numbers: 0806 149 9992 or 0703 713 1166 or 0816 587-1415.
It's Ramadan. Come on board. Let's go on a tour to the top restaurants where you can enjoy the best of the season. First stop is Charity Cafe. Here, the currency is sharing, so keep giving. Next stop is Kindness Bistro. Be the kindest you can be. Last but not the least, make a stop by at Forgiveness Drive-Thru and let go of every beef. And at Sahur and Iftar, bring it home with the goodness of great tasting meals with more. This Ramadan, don't just eat for good. Share the good and be the good. More. Eat for good.
Hello everyone, Jendol Superstores is here again.
Yes, that's why we are identifying with you, our valued customers, at this moment of purity, love, sacrifice and dedication to God.
As part of identifying with you, our valued customers, in a season of faith, supplication and sharing, Jendol Superstores will be offering you up to 50% discount for some products across all sections in all our superstores nationwide.
This is fantastic.
Yes, so for all your groceries and non-grocery items, household needs, food items at the most affordable rates, bakery items, electronic gadgets, religious materials, and wonderful gift items for your friends, families, loved ones, religious and corporate organizations, Jendol Superstores is the best place to shop at this period.
So what are you waiting for? Hurry now. Shop at Jendol Superstores today.
Offer valid while stock lasts.
Visit Jendol Superstores nearest to you in Egbeda, Idimu, Igondo, Okeafa by Jakonde Gate, and Ipaja by Abeson. We are also at Abuleba, Alakuko, Odogiyo in Ikorodu, another branch along Tᴏɪᴛᴛ Road, Ikorodu, and in Ojuore, Ota, Ogun State. For more unbeatable shopping experience,
Jendol opens Mondays to Saturdays 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Sundays 9 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
For more details, visit our website at www.jendolsuperstores.com.
For online, home, office or special deliveries, call or WhatsApp us on 090-6287-3274 or call the customer care line on 090-6287-3267.
Visit Jendol Superstores today and get discount up to 50% on some products in all sections of our superstores nationwide.
Jendol Superstores. Shop and smile.
Are you a real estate developer in Lagos? Do you want to see the business of real estate development done to global best practices? Are you eager for a more cordial relationship between real estate developers and government in Lagos? Do you want a boom in the Lagos real estate sector? Then vote Dr. ᴏᴜᴛᴜ as Chairman, Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, REDA, Lagos State Chapter.
A vote for me is a vote for continuity, for unity, and for progress of REDA Lagos. I'll be counting on your votes. We can do this together. Thank you.
It's Ramadan. Come on board. Let's go on a tour to the top restaurants where you can enjoy the best of the season. First stop is Charity Cafe. Here, the currency is sharing, so keep giving. Next stop is Kindness Bistro. Be the kindest you can be. Last but not the least, make a stop by at Forgiveness Drive-Thru and let go of every beef. And at Sahur and Iftar, bring it home with the goodness of great tasting meals with more. This Ramadan, don't just eat for good. Share the good and be the good. More. Eat for good.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us, man, there is nothing. We are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join Opeyemi Akinyode as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership. Every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial, Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you your next as we discuss the situations.
Okay, I'm glad to know you're still listening to the Situation Room live on Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't forget that by 5:30 the full bulletin will come up, and by 6 o'clock is going to be the Friday edition of Sport Cruise on Mainland 98.3 FM. That'll be the last edition of the show for the week. And don't forget, we have an all-female sports show on Sunday where women banter and talk sports. You don't want to miss that for anything. And of course, you always know on Saturday morning, yes, I will be with Mama Rainbow. It's something you always need to look forward to. You need to join Tiny, of course, Amida doing as she takes into conversation the very legendary Mama Rainbow. We always do that, talks about family issues, marital issues in the most simplest way. You want to enjoy it on radio, so we've got you covered all through the weekend. But let's get back into the room. Before we went on that break, I have this distinguished Senator Babatunde Akinyode. Of course, that's the president of the Senate for National Association of Nigerian Students. We talked about the student loan, the challenges, the prospects, and how workable do you think it can be, especially when you look at the fact that you have to pay back your loan or start paying back your loan 24 months after completing your mandatory National Youth Service Scheme, the NYSC. And of course, you look at the unemployment rates that we have right now, and the fact that almost every university graduate now is involved in one entrepreneurial skill or not. So we've broken all of that out, down rather on the other side of the conversation before we went on that break. And I was taking your responses before we went on the break. So talk to us. Do you think the student loan can be sustained? And if you've read through it, what are the things that you think we should include in it? Or you think some of the parts that you feel it should be reviewed? You can talk to us about that. 091-3600-777. 0410. Well, for the people that are using band A 20 hours per day, I wish you people well. I say big congratulations to you. I was having a conversation with a very senior mentor of mine earlier in the day, and he told me how much 27,000 units got him. And I'm like, maybe those of us that we don't get to see lights, maybe you see 2 hours in a whole week, or maybe 10 hours in a whole month. Maybe we should thank God at least. We can always still, maybe they've thrown us to band W. That's just on a light time. I really, really hope that we can find a lasting solution to the problem of power, electricity in this country. Mr. Opeyemi was with me on the show yesterday, the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, and what he left us with is that the government should be intentional about fixing two major things. One, the insecurity that is really dealing with us in this country, and two, the issue of power. That if we're able to work around both of them, then we've solved about 60% of the problems that we have in this country. Because when you have security, and then you have small-scale businesses that can stimulate the growth of a fragile economy like Nigeria, businesses that can employ 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, that can also expand and create more wealth and transfer wealth. I mean, it makes the country a little better. Then you can talk of fixing the healthcare, you can talk of fixing public infrastructures, you can talk of fixing education, you can talk of fixing, all of those things. The basic is make power available to everybody. Like I said, I was watching the Honorable Minister of Power, Mr. Bayo Adelabu, earlier this afternoon before I came on air. He was giving a press conference and he was trying to justify the need for the increments, the need for the removal of subsidy, the need to do this. And I'm wondering, in a country where people are struggling to keep body and soul together, in a country where the minimum wage cannot even buy you half bag of rice, in a country where some state government are even still struggling to meet up with the payment of the minimum wage, despite an increment of almost about 40% of what they get from the federation account every month as a result of the removal of subsidy. It's tough. If you move around, the scarcity of fuel right now is gradually building up. I spent almost 45 minutes at the fuel station this afternoon on my way to the office before we could get fuel in the public transport power. If there are gencos that are not, why would I be staying in a community where for a whole month I would not have electricity supply, and then you bring bills? So I asked one of the guys one day, and I told them, I said, where do you get these bills from? I made a quick trip outside of Lagos for a couple of days, and everything I had stored in my fridge was damaged before I came back, because for almost 5 days there was no electricity supply. And it's a lot of problem. A lot of small businesses are folded up because they cannot afford to buy expensive petrols to fuel their businesses. So maybe the government really needs to be sincere with fixing power in this country, then we can make some steady progress. Hello, good evening. Good to have you join us on the show. Your name, where are you calling from?
Kenny from Surulere.
Okay, Mr. Femi from Surulere. Good to have you. Can you help me put down the volume on your...
Kenny.
Okay, Mr. Kenny, can you help me put down the volume on your radio set? I could hear myself on the background.
I'm not there. I'm away from there.
Okay, go on.
My brother, you see, my brother, for you to be a good leader, you must be a good listener. You must do what the people want if you want to be a leader. You don't need to do that thing you have in your mind. You don't want anything on your mind. Do that thing that we want. That is governance for you. That is democracy for you. You will not come to my rural village and be building super highway for me. I don't need super highway. I need pipe-borne water. I need normal asphalt roads. I can take my agricultural produce. And you don't come and build bridge in my rural area. For what now? Those things are misplaced priority. This is what the government has been doing. All these flip-flop policies. Look at ever since they came in, which policy has ever seen the light of the day? They are just using us for trial and error. We are not rabbits for test kits. They are just doing trial and error. It's affecting the economy. You must be strategic. You must measure the strength of which policy that you want to roll out. You understand me? You need to test it. Do proper consultation. Don't be in a hurry to push out policy as if you are dishing out jollof rice to beggars. No, now. So this electricity, what have you? They did not. But I heard that they bought yesterday. I just let me try. I bought 4 units, 1,000 naira. 4 units, 4.1 kilowatts.
It's 225. So that's 4.
I'm in Sulere. I'm even thinking that the bank is Asokoro and Maitama. Sulere, very mushy and what have you. Every person on prepaid meter, you are getting 4.1 kilowatts for every 1,000 naira. It's so bad. It's so bad. So we're not getting the 20 hours. You can imagine when you take a banker to be a minister of power. What do you expect? What do you expect? A banker. He's there for money now. He's going for the money. And which language are they telling him? What does he understand about power and engineering and electrical and what have you? They're just pushing him around and he's just coming to tell us babuzos with wood like a marketer. We don't need all those things for him. I don't know what Nigerian sites of engineering are doing, that they will bring somebody that is not an engineer to come and supervise engineering this thing. Have you seen where engineers become Attorney General of the Federation? Have you seen where this thing become Minister of Justice?
Thank you.
They should stand up.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny.
Maintain their distance in all. In conclusion, my brother. In conclusion, please, as it stands now, they are stripping us all our privileges as a citizen of this country. All the things that we are meant to do, to be enjoying as palliative and what have you, which the government is supposed to subsidize. They have deprived us of everything. Please, if the president, right from president to the councillor, they should deprive them. In fact, they should deprive them of all their privileges. Let us be on the same pedestal. Because you cannot be enjoying and be telling me to buckle up or zip up. You understand me? You cannot be enjoying all those amenities and be telling me to be suffering and endure. They need to strip them off all the privileges, all the allowances, kitchen and wardrobe. Let us be on the same pedestal. So when you talk to me, I will look in your eyes and agree with you. Not when you are eating fried rice. Me, I'm managing to drink garri.
Thank you.
Telling me that garri is not okay.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, maybe sometime next week, God spare our lives, we'll look at the conversation around the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I remember how long it took the cabinet to come up after the screening. Then they were, assigned their portfolios, and then you look at some really, really funny appointments. And well, all of the ministers are accountable to Mr. President because he employed them, and he can always fire them anytime he wants to. But maybe we don't really have to wait till the end of a particular tenure before we let go of the people that we think are not living up to their responsibilities. We cannot do trial and error with an economy that is as fragile as that of this country. We need to get our policies right. Our policies must be people friendly. They must be well thought of. That's the simple truth. You cannot bring in policies that would further inflict pains and suffering on the people. Businesses will continue to fold up because they can't get sustained. The basic thing, people can't have access to quality education, good health, care package. It's just a whole lot of things not exactly going according to plan, and the president should think of reviewing it. This is April. Today is the 5th of April. By the 29th of May, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will have spent 1 year in office, 366 days, because this year is a leap year. And then we need to sit back and ask, how well have we come? 0913-600-0410. Talk to me. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good to have you join us on the show. Your name, where are you calling from?
This is Mr. Kenny from Mushin.
Okay, Mr. Kenny, good to have you today.
How is today, Mr. Opeyemi?
Good. It's Friday, and I'm sure we're set for a beautiful weekend.
Yeah. There's one popular saying, Islamic adage, that says that whosoever is ungrateful, when his fellow human beings does something good for him or her, we will never be grateful to Almighty God if He does any good things. How will somebody in this country be saying that for the past 1 year, close to 1 year now, this government has not done anything good, saying they're just saying try and error on the part of Nigerians? That is highly unthinkable. The issue of this student loan scheme, how will somebody say it's not going to work? This is Nigeria. Somebody does something to change. You should pray that it will work. If it works, it works for all of us. Before this law was this thing was passed into law, it has been passed before. Due to the criticism of Nigerians on how it was forced to roll out, this government then went back. They are praised and do so many other things to correction to put things in proper perspective before they send it back to the house before it was passed and president assented to it. How will somebody say it will not work? This is Nigeria. When will this lamentation be over after election? This is 1 year after election. People don't want this. People, because of party differences and political differences, never see anything good in this government. Before, dollar was up to 19, going to 2,000. Sarcastically, any of this government, they are happy. They are saying that dollar will be up to 3,000. Now, dollar is going down. Now, nobody has not seen all those who against this government say something about economic policy put in place by this central bank government and economic team to make sure that this is going down. This is Nigeria. Election is over. Let us face the reality. Pray for this government to succeed. If it succeeds, it will be better for all of us. If the rain falls, wanting to it will fall on all of us. God forbid. That is the situation we have now.
Thank you very much. If the rain falls, it falls on everyone. Well, if you choose to stay indoors, you may not feel it. So that's just on a lighter mode. We're gradually coasting home. 0913-600-0410. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Hello, good to have you today.
Good evening. This is John calling from Agido.
Mr. John, you're welcome.
Yeah. I want to make what the government on people are just saying to pray for this government, pray for this government, pray for this government. It's okay. That will make us to understand that when the true leader is in position, to understand, the people will rejoice. But you understand, I want to let you know something, Mr. President. Government is not all about you forcing yourself into the people. If the people like you, then say the voice of the people is the voice of God. It's okay. We don't need to go back on what actually happened in the 2023 election. You understand? They are not trying to go back to what actually happened. They want to discuss about that. What Nigeria actually went out. Some people were sleeping. It's okay. Some people were killed because of this election. Some people were able to take their life because of this election. So that Nigeria can be able to have the true leadership of this country. You understand? But these are because some people talk. You understand? We are not against the president. But you cannot force yourself into the people. When people don't like you, people don't like you. And you tell people to pray. Pray how? You understand? We have the good economic team. You understand? You are not trying and error. You want the country to move forward. As you want the country to move forward, when people don't like you. You understand? The truth is, do the right thing, then the people will like you.
Thank you very much. It's about accountability. It's about public service. And that's exactly why you put up yourself to run for political offices, not to get empathy from the people, but you promise to deliver, and that's exactly what they deserve from you. Okay. Michael Orias on Facebook says, good evening. If the government wants to help the indigent student, they should introduce highly subsidized education so that all can benefit. The student loan scheme is likened to palliative used by government to ameliorate the sufferings of the poor ones. Have palliatives worked? No, palliatives cannot work successfully in Nigeria because of environmental conditions as well as the student loan. Okay, Delami Eni on Facebook says, Tinubu for my hand for appointing Adebayo Adelabu as a Minister of Power. The same mistake Buhari made by appointing Raji Fashola as a Minister of Works, and 8 years of Fashola cannot be fixed. The Third Mainland Bridge was not fixed properly, but 8 years of David Umai, the Minister of Work, let's see what we can do with that. That's because David Umai is an engineer. Okay, Michael Lora is also saying power is very crucial because without power there can't be meaningful development. All the sectors depend on it for operation. A lot of manufacturing companies are going to fold up because of the high electricity tariffs as well as the inflation. The present minister of power, what difference has he brought in since assuming office? The government should put the square pegs in a round hole for things to work in this country. Okay, unfortunately I can't take more messages. I think I can still squeeze in one more call before we say our goodbyes. Hello, good evening.
Hello, Mr. Akwe.
You're welcome.
I really want to just vet my own anger, but thank God, one of the last callers reduced the anger.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just be saying who needs to praise who for the dollar that went to 19 and is coming back to 1,000. If anybody plays it, I can slap anybody by saying
please don't.
For praising somebody that 1,009 and you are telling me that where was dollar before Tinubu got there?
Mm.
Is it not the same economic negligence that took it to that rate? And I'm telling me that we should praise him for doing that, for coming up with a student loan that has not even seen the light of the day. One, and the thing is just like a state pilot tip. It's already failing from the beginning. The thing has not started and it's failing. How will they pay back? When you finish, we have guys that have finished school in this Nigeria for more than 20, 15 years that have not seen employment once. How would that kind of person pay back loan? We should think before we start saying that we want to bring out policy. Don't just push out policy like additional jollof price to people that doesn't have sense. Or we are giving an almanjiri people ever. We have to be serious in this country. You now push people down to running tax cutter because of power again. And you cannot call down anything in your own cabinet. You cannot call anything of your own spendings. And you are levying something on the people every time. Just push nonsense to us, we take it. That's what they are writing on. Just push nonsense to us, we are taking it. Push nonsense to us, we are taking it every time. You have to be very serious in this country. Anybody, I mean, if I see anybody that is praising him for any nonsense dollar, I can slap anybody.
I will not encourage you to do that because you can't just start going aggressive or going violent on random people because they express their opinion. It's always going to be that way. Some people feel it's a good thing. Some people have projections that the dollar could go 3,000. Now it's coming down. My own concern is that the way the price of goods, commodities, items, everything went up when the dollar was going up. Now that the dollar is gradually coming down and is trading 1,213, 1,2630, whatever it is, the price of the commodities should also come down. I think this is where the government needs to come in with price regulatory agencies. The market needs to be saturated with goods. At the same time, the market also needs to be cleaned up so that we'll have, if possible, some iota of, price control system. It's simple. When the dollar was going up, everything was skyrocketing. Now that the dollar is nosediving, the price of items should also come down a bit. Well, it's a Friday. It's TGIF. Whatever you do this weekend, whether you're going out for one in any form, weddings, birthdays, housewarming, whatever it is that you're doing, please stay safe, be careful, and most especially show love to the people around you. It doesn't have to be until you have everything you want before you reach out to the people, from the token that God has blessed you with, and also put a smile on someone's face. That's about it. By 5:30, the full news would come through, and by 6 o'clock, we'll be back for Sports Cruise. The Super Falcons are playing Paris 2024 Olympics qualifiers against the Banyana of South Africa. You get all of those details by 6 o'clock. Stay out of trouble and remember to keep your dial locked permanently on mainland 98.3 FM. If you want to go anywhere, please go with your radio set so that you don't miss every of our package here. My name is Opeyemi. Opeyemi Akin. Have a very beautiful weekend. I'll be back on Monday.